Welcome to the Kayla Ambrose Show. I'm your host and your travel guide to the other side, Kayla Ambrose, and I'm back here again inviting you to explore your spirit with me, Kayla. If you want more information, go to my website, exploreyourspirit.com. On there, you can find my books, all of my podcasts, my blog, my online courses, and information about private consultations with me as well. Today, I want to talk about your higher consciousness, specifically how to connect with your higher consciousness, which leads to you being more psychic, more evolved, and all in all, just living a better life. What I'm really trying to say with that is how to connect with your inner self, how to find happiness, and really how to stop chasing meaning outside of us. When we stop chasing meaning outside of each of us, we then become more meaningful. And we do this through our thoughts and actions. When we stop chasing meaning outside of us, we then find the meaning within. The only way to really understand and go deeper is to go within. And this begins by becoming more meaningful in everything we do, in every thought, in every action, all throughout the day. It's now the time, more so than ever in this world, to become more insightful and meaningful. And so, how do we do this? First, we have to understand that there are different levels of consciousness. Most people only are aware of their conscious mind if they think about it at all. The conscious mind is probably where 90 some percent of most people live every day. Your conscious mind is constantly being bombarded by other people with their thoughts, their impressions, their energy, their voice, their intentions, their manipulations, their validations. And this has been this way since you were a child. If you do something positive, your parents murmured affirmatively to you. If you did something they didn't want you to do, they murmured something negative to you. And you begin to learn, and your conscious mind begin to receive this input by first your parents and your family, and then your peers, and then outside influences. What you watched on TV, what you read, what you heard others discussing, what your peers talked about, what those greater than your peers talked about, those people that you looked up to or wanted to emulate. And then there are other influences as well that you don't think of as being such a direct influence, but are actually affecting you more than you know. That's like watching TV or a movie or a TV show, not just the commercials, but even the shows themselves, or reading on blogs or magazines or papers or social media of any type. What people are saying is important. It's important that you look this way. It's important that your hair be styled this way, or that your appearance looks this way, or that you think this way, or you're with this group, or of this belief, or you're supporting this, or that you're definitely not in support of that. Whose team are you on? Again, how do you look? What kind of work do you do? What kind of money do you have or not have? How do you spend it? What do you spend it on? Every day, most of what happens in this world is someone trying to influence you to how you're going to think, speak, react, live, and most of the time, what you're going to buy. What are you going to spend your time and energy and money on? And how's it going to make you feel? Do you feel better because you're in this outfit? Do you feel better because you have this thing, person, place, or thing? This is what's affected people so much in social media, is that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and comparison. So-and-so is taking a picture here. Why isn't my picture as good as that? They posed better. They look better in this. Why can't I do that? It's all the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is where we hold all of our negative emotions, all of our anger and fear and doubt, anything that makes us feel less than. It's where we're weak. It's where the ego feeds on us. It's how we're controlled and manipulated. It's where we live in fear and desire and neediness. It's why we buy stuff, hoping that it'll make us feel better, or why we do other things to try to tune out and not feel or not think. Why we may go to addictive substances or to other things just to escape all of these negative thoughts and feelings for a minute. This is where we have been attuned to live. And it's not a good thing. Some people will call this a grid. Some people call it a matrix, an energy field, a source. We have been attuned to stay stuck in the conscious mind. As I said at the beginning, to change this, you have to stop chasing meaning outside of you. When you chase what other people are saying is the right or great or best or important thing to do, and it's outside of you, you're listening to other and valuing their opinions more than you. When you find meaning within and become more meaningful, you will take the time to really consider these thoughts and actions of others. Or, as my teacher taught me, what is the motive behind the motive? Why is someone telling you this? What are they trying to influence you? The fact that social media people are called influencers should tell you a lot and make you take pause. What is their agenda? What do all these people want you to do? Look at the core of it and see. When you take the step that you start to question this and you start to think beyond your conscious mind, you move into the next level, which is the subconscious. The subconscious is where your body is like the receiver. It attunes and it connects to the mind and the soul. It uses its energy through the auric field and allows that to process between the three. The three being the subconscious, the conscious, and the higher consciousness, which I'll also refer to as the higher self. So as we step into the subconscious, which we do at night as well, when we're sleeping, but when we do it in an awakened form, this is when we begin to develop psychic ability and telepathy and to become more creative. And we have things called like hunches or gut feelings. And we have to do things to go within to awaken that subconscious and to connect with it. So one of the ways to do this are mantras. We can say a mantra each day, and that can help us get there, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. Or we might meditate. There's lots of different ways we can connect with the subconscious. The subconscious is the interpreter, and it moves us out of the conscious into opening into a more expansive field of energy where there is psychic ability and telepathy and the ability to receive greater information. And that then in turn opens us up into the higher consciousness, the global consciousness, into where the soul is, where we can connect, where we can know about the Akashic records and about all the wisdom we have stored, all the universal wisdom where it's connected, and how to go within to bring all that back into being, back into our reality, our concept of understanding here in this lifetime. And so the goal is to move from the conscious into the subconscious and then up into the higher consciousness. There's a lot of information out there about meditation. I've found working with students that some people can meditate and others can't. And I'm not going to talk too much about meditation today because I've got 3 guided meditations out there. If you're looking for them, you can find them on my website that leads you through these levels of connecting with your conscious selves and higher consciousness and sub. They're a trilogy that I created where you go to sacred sites, but each one helps awaken these levels of consciousness. So if you want to try meditation that way, you might want to try that. It's a guided meditation. If you find meditation hard, just to think of nothing, to go there. So you may want to try those. But for people who can't meditate, what I usually suggest to them is to try a mantra. And a mantra could be a chant, like you've heard Sanskrit. If you've studied yoga, if you've explored any of the Eastern philosophies, you've learned of mantras and how to do a chant. In the Western world, we might call this doing a prayer, saying a prayer over and over, something you're wanting to create. In the Eastern philosophy, we have the mala beads, and you hold the mala beads as you chant to keep your place and to keep you mindful. In the Western version, we might call this a rosary or another type of prayer bead, where we're repeating the prayer over and over to keep us mindful and our mind focused on what we're doing. But we can also do a mantra, which is to say something empowering that we want to create. And so to start to do this, you would just write out, I want this mantra to do, and then put a blank line there and write about what you would like to change in your conscious thinking. It could be something to do with your body and health. It could be something to do with your mind and your ability to create and envision. It could be something to do with your soul and growth and evolution. It could be anything that you want to change and to help you break out of your conscious self into activating with your psychic ability and your subconscious, and then your greater connections in your higher self. It could be as detailed or as open as you'd like it to be. I'll give you an example of a mantra that's good just for a basic opening up and going beyond the conscious self. I usually like to keep it to one sentence that's very clear, and just you feel it energetically. You feel the emotion of it, and then you can visualize whatever that is to be as you're saying it. So here's a simple one. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. Now, this is a very encompassing, open mantra, and it can be whatever good you're looking for. And so it doesn't try to control or try to make it be one thing. It's just saying that you're open, which when you say I am open, what you're really saying is I am opening into my higher self. I am opening beyond my conscious mind. And then you say to receive all. And that means to receive the wisdom, the divine wisdom from all parts of my consciousness. That is good in my life. When you say that is good, what you're saying is highest and best. Things that are positive, things that are affirming, that will help you live a better life. And the end my life is saying now at this time, in this lifetime, this is what I would like to bring into my consciousness. So in this simple mantra, if you repeat it daily, I am open to receive all that is good in my life. What you're doing is you're creating a small pinpoint of light. And this starts inside your consciousness in the mind, and it's vibrated as you say it out loud, which goes into your aura, which then begins to stick in your conscious body, that this is the change that you wish to see happen. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. And as you say this daily, that pinpoint of light begins to grow. It's growing from your third eye and opening this ability. It's growing in your chakras. It's extending out into your aura. It's filling your mind, body, and spirit with this mantra. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. You are telling the universe on a daily level that you are ready, you are open-minded, you are ready to receive, and that you are looking for all that is good. And so this pinpoint of light will continue to grow. And each time you say it, it'll grow larger and larger until eventually it becomes the thought form around your body. It grows from a tiny point of light, opening larger and larger through all the chakras, through the aura, through all the energy levels, radiating around you, coming from each chakra, including the throat chakra, as you say it out loud, and emanating as pure white light coming from your third eye as it opens. And you continue to say, I am open to receive all that is good in my life. And so now there's a light in you, and it's getting brighter every day. And as you're stepping into this new consciousness, you're experiencing both old and new timelines that are happening within you. The old timeline is what you believed before and how you lived in this conscious level, which was a lot of negative energy and a lot of negative emotions and a sense of fear and what wasn't going right. But now you're changing this with this mantra. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. And so you're creating a new timeline within yourself. Just like I talk about in the Akashic Records, there are multiple timelines and multiverses and energy that's changing and growing into our higher self. You are now becoming the change within you. You in this lifetime, in the flow of energy right now, have created this pinpoint of light, and it's getting brighter every day, becoming more and more of your mind, your body, and your soul. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. And as you play this back every day in your thoughts, as you say it out loud every day, it grows stronger. It becomes your mantra and your way of living and your way of being. And this is what people begin to sense around you and see around you and feel in you. They begin to understand when they see you that that person is open. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. And so therefore the universe conspires to help you receive all that is good in your life, to have other people say it to you, express it to you, share it with you, and give freely to you. Things that may happen with this is there will be many changes around you. People who are not magnetizing now with this new timeline you've created, with this new energy field, may shift out of your life. You'll feel a struggle between the two. As you continue to say this mantra, your higher self, your consciousness, your subconscious want to shift you up into a new vibration of energy. But as you do, you still are operating in both timelines, the old and the new. And so there will begin what we call a battle at the ego level, because the conscious mind has been trained and in some ways has been activated to rule you. And the conscious mind wants you to stay in your old patterns of fear and neediness and feeling that you need to follow other people and let them control you, to follow your peers, to think like everyone else, and to continue to buy and consume as much as possible to help you not feel as bad about the way you're feeling. But as you continue to say, I am open to receive all that is good in my life, that energy vibration continues to grow within you. And so you may find that certain relationships and friendships and careers may come to an end as you are breaking old patterns from your old lifetime. By doing these mantras, you are subscribing to a new elevated way of being and thinking and living. And so in order to do that, to make room, you have to unsubscribe from your old life. You have to unsubscribe from the old way of thinking. You're moving further away from the conscious mind into the subconscious and the higher consciousness. And there will be resistance from that. There will be some uncertainty. Others who are living in the conscious mind want to tell you that you're not in your right mind. And that's the biggest compliment you could hear. But they're not going to mean it as a compliment. They will be worried why you don't talk like they talk anymore and live like they live and only want to talk about the most trivial things. They will wonder why you have stepped out of it and are feeling differently. As a wisdom teacher, I've taught this concept for lifetimes. And those like me have taught this as well for thousands of years, trying to get people to understand change your thinking, change your life, and to understand the concepts like as above and so below, as within, so without. And there have been many master teachers that have tried to explain about all of everything you need to know is within, to go within, into the subconscious, into the higher consciousness, where all the wisdom of the ages is yours right there. What is happening now is that time is speeding up, and we're moving faster and faster in a stage of evolution. We have left the age of Pisces and are in the age of Aquarius. We're moving into new dimensions. We are speeding up what we are, where we're going, and what we're going to be. And so, this is no longer just a teaching for one-on-one anymore, or for one student who's ready to make the change. This is happening to us on a global consciousness level. The entire grid around the earth that holds our global consciousness of our thoughts and our feelings and our way of being, that consciousness is changing. It is being upgraded as well. Some call it a grid, an energy grid, global consciousness grid. Others call it the matrix. That grid is collapsing. It is breaking down in order to build a new grid filled with more evolved thoughts and energy. And so we're in this very messy time when all of the old patterns are breaking apart and will soon dissolve so that we can replace it with this new grid. If you're wondering about a current example of that, there's so many to pull from right now with the way the world is topsy-turvy over everything. But I'll pick one that's been in the news recently, and that's the Oscars and what happened there in the Oscars, the great slap on stage, let's call it. In other parts of the world and in other times in history, there are royalty, people who are seen to be the great people to emulate or to look up to. The royalty, which is kind of the head, and people would emulate those people in charge. But in the U.S., we don't have royalty. The closest thing that has ever been created or manufactured to emulate royalty are celebrities, people being famous for one thing or another. And people tend to look up to those people. Some people look up to sports figures that they'll call celebrities in their own right. Other people, it's celebrities that are in acting, that make movies or TV. Some now in the world today are made that way just by being on social media or or an influencer just for being who they are. This was part of the old concept, the old construct that was especially important during the age of Pisces. That was when we looked for the guru. There was the person that seemed higher above. And we would look to this person to emulate them, to listen, to do like they do, to talk like they talk, dress like they dress. For some in religion, that was the guru or the priest, someone in charge that seemed to be somehow closer to God, and we would listen to their thoughts and their talks and emulate their lifestyle and what they did in order to further connect. For others, it was royalty, the leaders, the politicians, the heads of state, and to emulate them the way they dressed and looked and sought power in order to understand how to seek power for yourself in your career or your business. Others, it was actors who became celebrities or sports figures in a way to emulate how to be magnetic like them, how to showcase the body and be beautiful and attractive and wear what they wear and live like they live in order to be whatever thing would make a person feel the most popular, the most liked, the most loved. And that's extended now into social media, into trying to get the most likes, which is creating a simulated feeling of an endorphin rush of the most likes, the most comments, the most reactions going viral means you're the most loved, the most adored. This is part of that old reality, that old grid, that old construct, which was created at the age of Pisces. And now it's all falling apart. With this grid falling is the concept that someone is higher than someone else, someone is better than. And so that would be royalty, or people being in charge, or people being the higher over someone else, whether it's their status, their celebrity status, their social status, their wealth, whatever it is. We are moving now into a different cultural experience. And this begins with the construct, the grid, the matrix. It has to dissipate and be rebuilt. And this is what is changing right now. This entire formula that built that grid, a new one, is being created. This is being met with opposition. There are powers that be that had a different plan, which was more sinister and wanted to control us even more. I don't have time today to go into all of this, but this is part of what was happening at the Oscars, to kind of continue to contribute to divisiveness, to cause problems there in that way. But the funny thing is that even when those who wish to try to control, try to create something bad, the funny thing is that good still comes from it. The light is always here. And though sometimes we may be living in the shadows, the light is here, and it's now returning and growing brighter each day. And with that is the understanding that all that happens for good, which, if you've read my 9 life-altering lessons, Secrets of the Mystery Schools book, that chapter about all that happens for good, and how things are evolving and continuing to. So even when there were sinister attempts to create some bad energy with that at the Oscars, the thing is, we've already reached a tipping point. We're already in the process of creating a new reality. So instead of that having the effect that they wished it to have, to cause more problems and divisiveness, instead it's just a reflection of showing that worshiping celebrities or a people that we want to put on a higher pedestal in any way can no longer be part of the new construct. Even the way in which we judge others or rate things like an award show can no longer exist in the same way. And so what we saw was kind of the de-evolving of that whole construct there, where those type of events won't exist in the future. And those type of award shows and putting one person on a pedestal above another will no longer exist. We have reached a tipping point, and we are now creating that new reality. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. And so this is happening for each of us and for all of us on a global consciousness level. We are open to receive all that is good in our life. So for some quick tips on how you can open up your higher consciousness and start taking these steps for you to level up, here's what to do. Step 1, you have to be aware of your conscious mind, and you have to want to change it. You need to change your thinking and change your life. You want to evolve from what we call the lower level thinking, living in the lower chakras, living in ego, spending your time in negative thinking, negative talk. You want to think before you do. Stop doing things just because everyone else is doing them, or wearing them, or buying things because you feel like you need to fix something within you, or to fit in, or to just stop the way that you're feeling. Get in touch with your emotions and figure out when you're doing things to fit in and when you're being led consciously and unconsciously by what you're watching on the media, whether it's the news or a movie or TV or social media or anything that has an impression on you, anything that you allow into your thoughts, into your conversations, can have an effect on you. Where are you feeding yourself? Where's your mind being led? What do you think most about? The biggest work is done here in step 1. Step 2, you begin to engage with your subconscious. You begin to do things like meditate or create mantras and points of light like I described here today. This opens you up to new concepts and ideas and allows you to become more creative. And so instead of letting yourself be led by others into what you should do or spending too much time on social media looking at what others are doing, you start being, you start becoming, you find ways to be creative, you start becoming the creator in your life. And this allows you to begin to live in the flow, in a flow of higher energy, which opens up your psychic ability and your telepathic ability and allows you to become more. You are now living less through the thoughts, actions, and reactions from others, or being led by others and their persuasive, manipulative pulls on you, both consciously and unconsciously, to now being more of a creator with your mantras and your visualization and your ideas and your creative thoughts. And as you do this, you begin to become more psychic and intuitive and telepathic. Step 3, you will open up this into your higher consciousness, and your psychic ability will then allow you to communicate even further between your higher self and your subconscious and into your conscious self as a way of being. You will begin to tap into the global consciousness and experiencing your life in a more direct connection between your higher self and your soul and what's going on in this lifetime. You will be able to travel between the earth plane and the spirit world, and you'll be able to see others for what's going on. You will see past the lower grid that is continuing around some people until they recognize they've been imprisoned by it. The global consciousness grid is being reconstructed as we speak. The older one is breaking apart, and this is why everything in the world right now is broken and breaking apart, because this grid has to be destroyed. And then as the new grid is being formed, which it is now, and a new global energy consciousness is being filled into this grid, you will begin to recognize others who you see have broken free as well from the old negative energy field that was around them in their consciousness. And now as the global grid has been destroyed, it is now time to destroy these old grid patterns that exist around each of us. We no longer have to live in the matrix. We no longer have to keep this energy grid around us. If you've read my The Awakened Aura book, I talk about the new evolution of our energy bodies and how a new grid was being formed around us to help uplift and carry us through this energy chain. This is what we're going through right now. And as you move past the matrix and rebuild a new grid around you, you'll recognize that in others. And those who don't, you'll see those grids around them holding them back. In time, as they become clear, their grids will dissipate as well. Eventually, the grids will dissipate off everyone as they won't continue to be fed by the global consciousness thinking anymore. For some, it will be quick. For some, it will take more than this lifetime to do. But as the old saying goes, when you know better, you do better. And now you know better. And you hear what I'm saying and you awaken to this. You're aware that this time is a time of change. And this is what has been happening for you, for everyone, for the world. Now is the time. Our grids are changing and you can open this up and do this even on a quicker basis for yourself, to step into your subconscious and your higher consciousness field. There's a light in you, and it's getting brighter every day. There's always been light in the world, and it's getting brighter every day as well. This small pinpoint of light is created within, and it's ready to grow. And you can do this with a mantra. I am open to receive all that is good in my life. Once a day, every day, and allow that light to grow from the small pinpoint into all your chakras, through your aura, out through your third eye, creating a new thought form and a field of light around your entire body. And see the old grid that's now gray and brittle, see that breaking apart from around you, and this new grid full of light and gold energy being formed in its place. Beautiful golden light, beautiful grid, opening you up to the higher self and to the greatest part of your consciousness that you can imagine. And say to yourself, I am open to receive all that is good in my life. As the Age of Aquarius says, may the divine wisdom from all the gods above now be made accessible and poured into your container of wisdom.